would like to engage them with things that are frontier technologies rather than what is in the past, and see how we can.
You shouldn't do big data in isolation, though. Then,
yeah.
if that's the idea, because it's a sketchy surface, just to tell a heart surgeon, then it's just the space you can do. He needs to understand all of those things to actually do a proper surgery. I think the risk is if we get that buzzword far too much out without understanding the context, then the kids who have no idea, they may end up, as you said, picking up things which are, I think they may figure out how. I think to your point about they really need to understand why, and I think they get why, then there is a career path in it.
Sure.
Other than that, it's just another IT backend.
But then the CIOs don't get the why. So
I know, but that's the thing. As a person, the CMOs are taking over the CIOs now.
As a young person on the market, where can you get the why? You can't get the why. So I think the only fallback option is to get the
how and then
And the why, I guess, will come once you join a job. And then as a hirer also, I mean, I know that there aren't people who do why out there. So just get someone who has the what at least.
Yeah. Actually, that was another point. So if I go back to your tagging things, so if you have so many people who are actually putting big data and these fancy skills as tags, who are the receivers of them? Are the receivers people who don't need those tags? Because I don't think that there are so many industries in India who really have need for cloud and big data and fancy analytics and these things. 80% of this market is straightforward. Just get me some basic stuff done, and the mid level or the low end outsourcing pyramid that's where the largest.
Actually, I'll take reference to that. The most complex project.
So in the bigger companies, but I'm saying
the national stock exchange,
but that's with the TCS and the Wipros and others. I'm saying
nowhere else in the world you find such a number of people sitting in services. It's impossible to find outside.
But would you hire that many big data people? Let's say if you look
no, I'm not looking at big data people. I'm looking at people who understand where technology is going.
Yeah.
And that same person or the same variety, but 5 years ago might be a cloud person today, because he knows where it's going. He's learning the right skills today. I would not take him and put him in a big data box.
Yeah.
That's not the right way. He's a good general purpose guy because he knows this extra skill.
Let's put it this way, the aspiration is big data, which is why it comes on CVs. Has the industry put big data in the JDs? Maybe not yet. But the point is that clearly the candidates are saying, this is what I'd like to move towards. If that is the case, what we are trying to do with TechGig is, while you look for that JD that says big data, we can engage you with small case studies, with small somewhere where you can get your hands dirty, but you're allowed to make mistakes. There's no harm. There's no criticality about that entirely.
Even in a large organization, the job description, updation, it's a cycle.
Yes, it's a very slow cycle.
HR to change anything is a nightmare, right? I mean, they are always years behind where they should be, probably in any organization, right? So
do we have any HR people?
So I mean, yes, a business needs this. They'll go out and do it themselves. They'll hire. The bulk hiring is it's a pipeline.
Last time we talked about data, or this we had HR people in the room, and let me give you that perspective. What they said is that these guys, they sit in their cabins and do their work, but if you tell them to articulate what is it that you're looking for, it is a nightmare for any HR manager.
At least they sit in their cabin and do their work.
Well, that's actually true. That is true.
You see, even if I ask all of you, the way you articulate that into a JD may actually be a nightmare for your HR people, because the skills that you're looking for is much faster than the pace at which JDs are evolving.
I am very simple. I have a very specialized need because of research. I am a computer science person, and I want 50 of them, I'll take one. Right? And I may not even take that one. That's the kind of thing. You need the smart guy, basically, in the end, right? Yes, for the bulk JDs are going to remain the same for a while, except for the analytics practice or the big data practice or whatever. They'll have their own recruitment drive and stuff. So the bulk is going to remain the same for a while in the large companies.
One of the things that we have been doing with, this is part of our research at Times Jobs, is that we have been analyzing what has been articulated by the hiring managers in various JDs. And we're seeing, can we come up with a classic JD for, a range of classic JDs and for different positions. It was just an academic exercise for us. Having said which, we started marrying what the candidates are doing with what the companies are giving. That's where we figured that there is a complete mismatch.
Yeah.
The candidates are way ahead of the JDs.
Yeah.
And if they are looking, there are many candidates who are pulling themselves out of the formal resume scenario, saying that they don't even, forget it, I don't want my resume here because they don't understand. It will only come through referrals or things like that.
Sorry, I didn't want.
So one of the things that we thought should be, would be the outcome of this is, we'd like to keep interacting with you and then come up with those classic JDs. Not that is what your HR managers are going to use, but at least he has 15 JDs of different companies, and then he says that this is how a JD.
So my ask in this, so especially in this this talent people HR recruitment side of things, and this is what I tell everyone also is, so there is this factory workers, which is what I call as the old skills, and everything what we're talking about now with the analytics and everything is the artists. There's a difference between an artist who can think, who can decide, who has that basic aptitude, intelligence to move around. Now, it is impossible to put a JD for an artist. It's okay to put a JD for a factory worker. You know what? I get these things. Switch on the lights, switch off the lights. At the back end, life's good. Now, anytime we actually put somebody in HR or a recruitment manager about putting a JD for somebody who's going to be fairly cutting edge or bleeding edge, I don't think a JD would ever be able to do justice. And you can't really fight this battle of people and intelligence on Excel sheets and Word documents. That's where it gets very, very difficult to. I think it's a starting point. It's an anchor that if these things match, this is probably the 5% to get to where I need to go.
I think it's fairly straightforward and principle all this. It's not that difficult to put together. I think we've done it on many occasions. Data scientist, which is much more close to the stats part. Data scientist is much more close to the technology part. These two varieties are easy to put down. Our customers ask them all the time, and they're there. The question is, let's see who responds to that, because there is no degree in this. You'll get a variety of responses, and some may be the creative and pick them up.
Yeah, exactly.
So the 50 become more relevant for you to pick up on.
So how do you identify the artist then?
I think you have to. So one is, I don't know. I think it's an interaction. It's
interaction and talking to them, and you just explore it out. How you know it, you out of the box.
Sometimes a resume. What it tells us is a trending.
Yeah.
I think a trending is kind of a 50% shot, and the next 50% is beating, and it doesn't take a long time. The tests and other things can kind of validate it. But I feel the problem is by the time somebody asks for the JD together, you get it to HR who really don't understand that artist because they understand learning and development. They don't understand some of the other things. And then it goes to a place where they get sourced. By the time it gets to the person, by the time it gets to the recruiter, it's a mess. The message is getting lost in translation.
Yes.
And I think there are smarter ways of doing it. I see a lot of recruitment companies. They forgot the name of this company. I think Skill Talent or Talent Win or something like that. They are actually using big data, social, all possible information to find those attributes about who's an artist and who's not.
What you're doing in the social space?
Yeah, so there's a company in Silicon Valley who is actually trying to translate the traditional paper into something which is far more than just. So again, there are ways to solve this problem. The way we are talking about solving the banking problem or these other problems, it's about solving, how can I know more and more about, has this person written papers, he's reading things, he's got his life a little bit more exposed to the things which is a little bit beyond his type of things. And again, it's smart people building smart algorithms to do a little bit of that, but again, it's not an answer.
But having said that, today I think the educational market, there are definitely a lot of seats. Right? It's not like there's not enough seats for engineering seats are going up. The second side of it, there is a shakeout happening. There are institutions that are closing down because. So that demand for quality in education is going to really come in because otherwise people are not going to be able to sustain themselves. That's a good thing. And the challenge is that as from the recruitment side, we don't have a good way of filtering.
Yeah.
And we need good ways of filtering. MOOCs is one way, computational thinking, other mechanisms, which you said social. But we just need a better way of filtering because the traditional or the established education system, and apart from the top institutions, don't tell me anything. The data is meaningless. This tag or that tag, I cannot distinguish between ABC and XYZ Institute of Technology. There is no hierarchy. Everything has value. Everything else.
I think that's the other element of growth which will come as this area matures in the next 1 to 2 years. The cycles are so fast, so it will mature in 2 years, not 5, because of the very nature of how this is evolving. Is that, for example, Northwestern University has a program in analytics and data science, and they kind of cover all the gambits of the 3 roles we talked about. I think University of Minnesota's got something, and then a few other universities that are coming out. Berkeley's got something. So I think you'll start to see some of those programs coming in India just because of sheer demand, right? If we as demand generators or satisfiers of demand say, Lord, we need one or more big data scientists, and then we break it up into what specific areas big data scientists, then there will be requirements for people to go to a finishing school of these nature, but more formal. There are a bunch of finishing schools that are trying to do analytics, data science, big data technology kind of thing, but they're being opportunistic. Instead of make quick money to handle the fear that I don't have this, I don't have understanding, or I don't have programming skill in Hive, so I can take a Hive course and pay 20,000 rupees. I did a big data boot camp for 25,000, and I felt like okay, that was not that great, and the company paid for it fine, and I learned a couple of things along the way. But I don't think that's the way education should be. It needs to be more formal. And to your point, then we will be able to go recruit from such school. Now, whether IIT comes to the IITs or it comes to regional engineering colleges that start offering this. It is a new phenomenon in the US. It's been around about 2 years, but it's extremely successful. A lot of people are actually taking time off and going and attending these programs part-time, full-time. So I think that will come here too. Because again, India and China, these two countries are going to be big suppliers of the science pool. And therefore, formal education will drive up the skill level, and the certifications that come out of it, will make us a lot more comfortable with hiring people there. So I think that's the next wave. There are early or there are entrepreneurs who try to do this analytics education, but they're being opportunistic.
I would be very wary of those operators. We would look forward to the top institutes having these programs. The IIT would definitely do that. I know that a lot of people are doing it already. The challenge with the traditional universities is they tie themselves into so many regulatory knots, they can't do a change to anything. So they're stuck. They're unable to move. They've just wrapped themselves in red tape completely. So there's a challenge there that they're not able to even adopt what is happening in the world very fast.
And I think online courseware might be the way to solve
parallel
it.
mechanism of online courses. They can buy the students independently, not sitting in a degree program. They can't even start a degree program. It requires ministerial approval.
In fact, in our last, we have an annual conference. So when the minister came, he said that I am unable to sort out red tape in Indian academics. But the other thing that we can do is allow credit courses. And the more credit courses and the more innovative the credit courses and the better done they are, irrespective of whatever you're doing, if you are allowed to take credit courses, that seems to be the way forward.
That also they don't allow in many colleges.
I mean, there's such red tape to even get meta university concept working between 3 institutes. I mean, okay, it's very difficult between DU and Jamia and all to make it work because there's red tape. But look at this, there's a MOOC course being offered for credit at IIT and IIIT. Isn't it meta university? It is, because there's no red tape. So the university system is difficult to crack.
That's a fundamental problem actually. And that goes back to everything what comes in, and I don't think all of us or any of these initiatives will actually solve that basic problem. It's much bigger. NASCOM has been on it for a long time. There's so many initiatives on it. They do just enough to see what it helps us as a company, but they can't go beyond.
Basic problems are of our own making, really.
And we made it so strong that we can't really break it.
Because in the absence of a formal course, that's what,
But if the informals are working well and in
Yeah, it's
some
been-
sectors it
it's
seems to
been
be
so long.
working well, what's the harm?
Yeah, but you need more structure.
You need
Some
more
structure is
structure.
required there, and something will evolve, I think. It cannot be, probably won't be a formal degree programs like Georgia Tech or all that, but something will have to evolve to make it a little more structured. So that we don't have isolated, they don't know what course to take. Right. So, maybe a JD of the future may say, we would ideally like the guy who's taken these 5 units. Right. Almost setting the curriculum ourselves.
Why don't you try and put something together like that?
I can do that for my own
Right.
need.
For organization.
Get the HR to do it takes time.
That's why everybody has internal leaders.
Yeah.
You're not going to, you're trying to solve the problem for the company.
We would like to actually, if you have evolved these, even for your own universities, if you articulate that these are the 5 things or 6 things that I'm looking for in a candidate, we'd like to kind of amplify that. And,
I would agree, right? If you can go look at the public news,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've looked at all of them from, all the best
Right.
relevant ones, right? And I know which are good and which are pretty much rubbish, at least in this area. And then this is what, we would think.
Are important.
5 out of these 10, or 4 out of these 7. This would be good. And if you put that up on your, that's ideal.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. Maybe Girish will connect with all of you and we could come back with
Yeah.
some
You can share it back
solution.
with us.
Absolutely. In the public space, make it big data.
No, public is important because, it cannot be that